Welcome back to Marketing Connected. I'm your host, Rizwana Manjur, and you're tuned in to In Conversation, a series where we, as the title suggests, are in conversation with the industry's brilliant minds and experts. We have in the studio with us today Goh Shufen, APAC President of MediaSense and co-founder of R3, an independent marketing advisory. Welcome, Shufen.
Thank you, Rez. Thanks for having me.
We're so excited. So let me give a little bit of a brief introduction of Shufen. I'm sure most of us already know her. But Shufen, prior to being the APAC president of MediaSense, also held many roles in agencies such as MNC Saatchi, where she was there about 6 years. She also had about 3 years at Ogilvy. She has also held presidencies across Institute of Advertising Singapore, the AAMS, and more. So without further ado, we're so happy to have Shufen on board. Now, I'm going to go straight to your question, Shufen. It's been an exciting year for you. There was an acquisition by MediaSense. How's that been so far? It's been about a year, I think.
Not yet. It happened like last quarter of 24. And it's been going well. I mean, it's kind of like you're marrying into a new family,
Okay.
So a lot of new, relationships and bonds to forge, getting to know all your fellow peers everywhere. So I think you're Indian, I'm Chinese. What happens? We know what marriage means, right?
Yes, of course. There are good times, there are bad times, but we stick through together.
Yes. Yeah.
So what would you say has been one of the biggest changes in your role since the acquisition?
Well, I guess I'm still working as if I own
The business.
and run the business.
Yeah.
So that hasn't changed. I think my role as president of AP has given me like more focus.
Yeah.
I mean, prior to that, it's basically me and my co-founder,
Yeah.
running the world. And I think I kind of like that. This is where my heart is.
Yeah.
So that's a positive for my personal
Okay.
front, where my passion is. And it's also sort of, we are growing up,
Yeah.
as a smaller company prior to the acquisition, and now we're part of something bigger. So we need to start new habits, new way of doing things, so that collectively we can really scale
Yeah.
to the benefit of our staff as well as our clients.
Yeah.
So I think some things will not change, but how we do things may change.
Yeah.
And we're learning to
So-
find a good balance.
When you say some things will not change, it's your hustler side, I suppose. Because I always say you're like the biggest hustler out there. You're go.
Proudly hustler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How, like you said, right? Like it's like a marriage. There's good parts, there's bad parts, there are things that you need to curb. There's parts of you that get to flourish.
Yeah.
How do you retain this hustler mentality that I think has made R3 so successful over the years?
Yeah.
I mean, if we can even peel back a little bit, when Lighthouse was sold,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like a couple of years ago, I remember that was one of the things that I wondered, like we used to be such big hustlers, and thankfully we still are.
All of you learn from the best. Justin Randalls.
That's right. You know Justin. So,
Yes.
so how do you maintain that? Because that's a great proponent of your growth as well.
And I think that, to be honest, also was what I think MediaSense saw in R3. We have a company of hustlers, not just me, but I think we've created that culture very well, where we hire people who are not just good at their job, but they are empowered to be entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
They do it because they care. They want the company to do well, and they want to help more clients. So it's not that kind of like street side hustling,
Yeah.
It's much more
Corporate hustling.
strategic. It's much more strategic because I think it gives us a lot of satisfaction
Yeah.
working with, clients, trying to solve their real problems. I think fundamentally, regardless of what position you're doing at R3, I think everyone loves helping
Yeah.
client. We are in that service
Okay.
business, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when the news came out that MediaSense was in the picture, I remember I was working from home that day, and I think I called you like 30 seconds after I got the email.
Yes.
I was like, Shufen, what? What? And I said what for like 15 times.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we actually began having a real conversation. It was such a shock, I would say, when I
Right.
first heard it, because I always thought that, you are so big on a cultural fit. And every time that we've had lunch outside or any conversation, you've always talked about creating culture, creating a place that also gives back to the younger people entering the industry. You're a big advocate of moms and all of that. And
yeah.
going into an acquisition, you never know how it's going to be. How did you feel, and what was it like? You don't have the data to support you. You
Yeah.
have to go with gut feel, right?
Yes, and I think it's a really, really good question, and obviously something you know me well.
Yeah.
It's really important to me. So I would say that in the dating process of finding the right
Yeah.
groom or bride,
Yeah.
it was certainly an important factor for us.
Yeah.
So I think it helps that with MediaSense, we know the co-founders on the other side, Andy and Graham, and we have very shared values on how we deliver for our clients, how we treat our staff. So that gave comfort that it's not just another corporate, if you know what I mean. So the whole can-do, caring and very committed type of relationships that we have
Yeah.
at R3 is really what defines the culture,
Okay.
right? And I think that was our secret sauce that made us successful.
Yeah.
I think that was also very clear to MediaSense that, wow, you guys got something special going on here. So why would they want to lose that?
Yeah.
Right? So now it's really working together to see how do we come together and have this everywhere
Yeah.
and not just in Singapore,
Yeah.
you
talk about work-life balance, but you are always living in a plane. You're everywhere. Every time I message Shufen, she's in a new country.
But I respond to you, right?
You still respond to me. So I don't know, maybe it's 3 a.m. there or 5 p.m. there. So how do you do that for yourself? Or does a founder not get to have work-life balance? Is that the choice that you made? That I'm a founder. This is my livelihood. I got to do what is necessary. I don't need it.
I think there's some truth. I always tell my friends, right? Like, it sounds the idea of being your own boss is very sexy, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Because I think if you want to be a founder, you've got to kind of like realize that you have to work probably harder than everyone else.
Yeah.
You also bear the most risk,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you have no risk appetite and you want certainty, then it's probably not the right thing to do, because that will add to your stress. The work itself is already could be stressful, but that uncertainty is
I couldn't do it, I don't think I could be responsible for so many people's livelihoods. It's a different kind of mental stress altogether.
yeah. So I think the pandemic was very, very stressful
Yeah.
with that kind of uncertainty, and it did keep me up awake at night for many nights. Like you just said, you're feeding a lot of families,
Exactly.
So but you just got to have faith. And I think that was what kept me going, that we've done this. We've gone through Asian financial crisis. We've gone through a lot of recessions, and we always grew.
Yeah.
So there's this blind faith and optimism that you
Yeah.
must have.
Yeah. Okay. And why did you start R3? I mean,
I
I think it's only this was during your third child? Was
No,
it?
second child.
Second,
So
okay.
it was, I think, forget about balance. I don't know what that means when you're a mother and you're a career woman and
Yeah.
stuff. So you just always try to do the best that you can. And you just learn to live with the guilt, the mom guilt, I
Yeah.
call it, right? But the mom guilt was at supercharged when my second child, my son, turned 1, and it was a very stressful, a very, very full-on year at MNC Sachi, where I barely saw him, because I was working late all the time. And it just dawned on me that, and I actually had offers from other agencies with significant pay bump, right? But that epiphany hit me that what I wanted was control. It wasn't more power. It was control over my time,
Right.
right? And being able to answer just to myself and not answer to others when I want to leave at 6:30 so that I can put my kid to bed. I don't want to feel bad,
Yeah.
and it was very difficult at that time in the agency world to do that. I would say there was no agency, I believe, where I could feel differently about leaving at 6:30. It doesn't matter that you come in at 7 a.m. You're still kind of expected to do creative reviews at like over drinks,
Yeah.
whatever. So there was a push, but there was also always at the back of my mind, like I always thought I was quite enterprising. I always like sales. I always like
You always have ideas.
I always have ideas and like business ideas, all kind of stupid ideas. But I kind of learned the 6 years at MNC Saatchi made me realize I would never start an agency business because I realized how hard it was
Yeah.
to be profitable. And you have to take on a lot of cost, right?
Yeah.
If you want to scale.
Yeah.
So when Greg approached me with this idea, saying, "Oh, I spent 6 years pitching. It's so badly managed, the process. I want to change the world."
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, let's have a shot.
Yeah.
And what's the worst thing that could happen? I'll go back and look for a job, right?
Yeah.
So that was how it started.
Fair enough. But you, as much as I love you, you are also a somewhat controversial figure sometimes. We've had those conversations like no agency would think that you're on their side.
Oh, yeah. Then we are doing our job right.
But everybody would think that, oh, you favor this agency over another.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Why does the client need, consultancy?
Yeah.
Who made you kingmaker? All of these questions always, I'm sure, come to you.
Yes.
So how do you handle that? And at the same time, maybe you're seasoned and you know how to handle that, but I'm sure the younger people also kind of get affected that like, oh, you know what? I'm just doing my job, but they're giving me so much crap for it.
So actually in the interview process, I always tell my guys that you need to be prepared to
Not be liked.
That's
a tough one.
And so you can't be a pleaser. If you are a pleaser personality, you probably do not suit the role at R3 because we are not paid to be popular. We are paid to be independent. And that means and most of the time in a pitch, you are the bearer of bad news to all agencies.
Then the good, yes.
Then the good one. There's usually only one winner, right?
Yes.
And the winner agency will always think they win because they did a fantastic job, not because R3 managed process well, right? I mean, let's face it.
Yes.
So whereas
You get
the agencies that don't win, it's R3. I mean, it is human nature.
Yeah.
So really our job is to have a lot of integrity and to learn to deliver bad news diplomatically, but also, I think honestly, like sometimes I think people don't hear the brutal honesty enough. They may not appreciate it, but we need to make sure that we are really, and I think we've got a bulletproof process. We know we stand behind our methodology. We are very evidence-based, so like we have to be bulletproof because you are going to be in that position.
Yeah. So now with the partnership with MediaSense, what are some of the markets that you think you're going to go big in? I know we talked about Australia a little bit. Australia is exciting for us as well. Hi, Matt. But what other markets would you say are kind of priority for you?
Well, I think Southeast Asia has always been like important for us as a zone, right? And we've had a lot of success over the years and a good track record in the largest one, like Indonesia. We are seeing some momentum in Philippines.
Okay.
We've always had good coverage with, say, multinational clients. So when we say going deeper into some of these markets, is really where we see some opportunities with big local giants. right? So when I say momentum in Philippines, like it was great that we've worked with like Cebu, Cebu, Jollibee.
Yeah.
So we feel that now it gives us the confidence that the local brands are also thinking best in class. They are thinking about growth internationally. So I think it will always be sort of like enough local giants that has global ambition. So on the same note, it's kind of like how we're looking at potentially Australia. Not so much as we all know, Australia can be very inward
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah.
And I think there will always be advisors for a client that is very domestically focused. But our target would always be, clients with global ambition
Yeah.
and who are seeking best-in-class practice from anywhere.
Yeah.
And that plays to our strength and what we do best.
Yeah.
We work very well across the different geography. We've always worked that way. So as far as the client's concerned, it doesn't matter where you are a client from, you will get access to the best in class experts within our network. Yeah.
So you've worked on the agency side. Now you are, sort of the go-between client agency. What is one thing that you think agencies are still making dire mistakes around?
One, right?
You can.
Okay.
We do have a bit of time, so maybe one or two. Yeah, which ones do you think?
I think I would really encourage agencies never to give away things for free. It's still happening. And we know that. And yes, it's competitive, but I guess clients almost never value free stuff.
So stop dropping your pants. Okay, and you feel like that's something that's happened throughout the years, still happening now.
Yeah, still happening. And I think as you head into recession or, a bit of uncertainty, I'm not talking about lowering the rates or whatever. I'm talking about sort of giving value add that is free, I mean, in a pitch situation. That's all. And they also tend to sort of give the stuff that, in our opinion, is the most important thing as strategic contribution, and why are you giving it for free?
What about clients? What do you think is the biggest mistake they tend to make?
I think the biggest mistake they tend to make, and clients are not going to like me for saying this, is that they think the problem is always on the other side. And they don't look within themselves and their own teams to say, hey, maybe it's how we are working with the agency.
Yeah.
Maybe our people are not very clear or competent.
Yeah.
It's always easier to blame the agency. So we almost always kind of like hold a mirror.
Yeah.
Maybe be a bit more curious about where the opportunities might be within your team before you start to think about changing agencies, blaming agencies.
Yeah. What is one big change that you wish you could make in the industry, and that you feel like no matter what, we haven't had progress from?
If I take a step, why this industry still makes me so passionate about it? Why
Yeah.
all this talk of AI and everything, why do I still believe there's a future for the industry? I think it comes back to my belief that marketing drives business. It's a growth engine, but it's still not seen as one in a lot of sectors. I'm talking like outside your FMCG.
Yeah.
Where I think it's probably the only category where I think CMOs don't get asked or don't.
Why this spend? Why that?
No, not just the spend. It's like, what's the role of marketing?
Right.
Like your own
More
existence
basic. Yeah.
is sometimes existential crisis.
Yeah.
And we see clients in that because their C-suites do not understand what's the role of marketing. And I think we haven't been very good at correlating what marketing does to business results.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about the future because I'm a scientist by training. I've
Are you?
always, yep. I didn't go to business school.
Oh,
Confession.
what did you study?
Biology. So,
Wow.
so I'm always curious about human behaviors, animal behaviors, and all that. So, but it's also about using quant data,
Yeah.
making the right hypothesis, looking for the right evidence, right? And I think, I'm excited by both the art and the science part of marketing,
Yeah.
but we are very underdeveloped in the science piece. Now, we are also at the same time I don't think we have progressed very much in sort of putting value on the craft, the art part. And this is why the industry is feeling very insecure. Because now AI can do all this easy production in 3 seconds. So clients are being asked, right?
What's your value?
No, what's the value of your agency? Do you still need your agency?
Yeah.
You can just use this Gen AI too, but that is very superficial. Right?
Yeah.
But I think that belief or that thinking comes from a lack of appreciation for the craft of ideation, and I think we've not built on it. And I think we've got a very short window to train the people, the professionals in the industry, to level them up, the craft side.
The last question that I asked you, I started with, tell me a little bit, let me talk about you, but you ended up talking about the industry.
Okay. What do you want to share about me?
What keeps you in the industry for so many years?
I love it. I think...
Why did you study biology then?
Well, because I couldn't become I couldn't get into medical school. It's simple as that.
You wanted to be.
Yeah, and then when you're 18, what do you want to be, right?
I wanted to be a reality TV star. Clearly not very ambitious. Okay, you are.
This is actually very outside my comfort zone. I really hate talking about myself or being in the limelight, right? It kind of ticks both sides of my brain.
Yeah.
It's creative, it's analytical, it's left and right brain. So I still think we have amazing contribution to economy.
Okay.
And I've got a fantastic team.
Fair enough.
So
yeah. Okay.
And we get to work with really smart clients. I think that makes a difference.
Okay. So final question. A little birdie told me there are changes coming to R3. Do you want to share a little bit?
Well, I think it's no surprise that when, not to forget, MediaSense has also acquired PwC.
Yeah.
And then there's R3. So we have to have a common identity.
Okay.
So keep a lookout. You'll watch that space.
I'll watch that space. That's a tip for everyone. Watch that space. Okay, fair enough. Anything else you want to leave our audiences with?
As you pointed out, I've got sort of side passion points. I think if I reflect on why do I stretch myself to do that?
You do stretch yourself very thin.
Yeah, but I think at the core really is, taking agency to do something. If there's something that bothers you, I think every one of us has the ability to do something about it. And I hope all the young and listeners as well as maybe the more jaded ones. I think we are all heading into kind of everyone is just talking about AI. That's what everyone's talking about.
Yeah.
At recent Lions and all that stuff. But, we are humans. As long as humans, there are some things that we can do that AI can't do. And I think it's in every aspect of our life. So if there's one takeaway, I hope that, whether it's a business idea that you have or it's something that you want to do for the community, just do it. What's the worst thing that could happen? You fail, try again.
Fantastic. I love that. Yeah, I think on my podcast with Shin as well, I said the same thing, right? Just try it. And so what? If you fail, you fail. But you try something.
Being comfortable with failure is probably the most important lesson to teach. I mean, certainly that was very top of mind for me. Like we're very deliberate to let our kids fail
Yeah.
and experience failure early. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And on that note, thank you so much for being part of the conversation, Shufen.
Thank you, Rez, for having me. Thank you.
Pleasure. It was really fun. And to our listeners out there, fear not, although this interview with Shufen of R3 is over, you can check out your favorite podcast platforms to find out more in conversation episodes and other marketing connected interviews. And once again, thank you for tuning in to Marketing Connected, brought to you by Marketing Interactive. See you soon. Bye.
Thank you.